The Radio Whammo Breakfast.
Suckling on the teat of tech.
With Paul Brislen.
Hi, Tech Conversations with Paul Brislen, twitter.com/Paul Brislen. Morning, Paul.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. Who's been at a breakfast this morning in his role as the head of 2ANZ, addressing 4,000 CEOs.
Oh, no, much fewer in the end. I think there was somebody slipped up on the invite and added an extra zero, which is a little bit scary. So, yes, no, it's far fewer than that, so I'm quite pleased.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Yeah, we're talking high-tech and all the things that are coming down the pipe and getting away from the whole argument about how we build this cell phone and telecommunications network and moving it to, well, what are we going to do with it?
Well, that's right. And no doubt, one of the conversations was about the story this morning that foreign firms will be allowed to buy up Telecom's retail business when the company breaks up this year. Under its Kiwishare obligations, no foreign company can own more than 49.9% of Telecom.
Yes. So
okay.
It's a bit of a bun fight, but it's actually a bit of a storm in a teacup at the same time. So, as you know, we've got this Telecommunications Act that's coming in, and it's been quite contentious and been lots of arguing and toing and froing and 10-year regulatory holidays and all these provisions around breaking telecom up. And they've just submitted, it's in the House at the moment, it's just had its second reading. And they introduced a supplementary order paper, which means we're just going to tidy up a few things. And this thing seemed to say we're getting rid of the Kiwishare. And that's that, which was quite new for everybody. This was the first we'd heard of this. And the Kiwishare, of course, is those rules that say you must make local calls free.
Yep.
You can't put the price up of line rental more than the cost of living each year, and rural folk can't get charged more than urban folk. And the way the SOP is worded, it looked like all of that was being thrown out completely.
Right.
And so there was much panic and wailing and gnashing of teeth and questions in the House and running around before we figured out that, in fact, no, what they're doing is they're just tidying up the language in the Act and getting rid of all the references to things that don't make any sense when telecom isn't one company anymore. All of the restrictions are still there. So the restriction on foreign ownership was in place because telecom, of course, was the only national network we've got.
Yes.
And they realised that what had happened with trains and some of the other network infrastructure is that some foreign bugger buys it and then doesn't invest in it, and it all goes to custard, and we suffer.
That's right.
So that's actually still there. It's no longer applying to telecom fully because telecom will be split up. It applies to the telecom chorus side, so that's the network. The retail side can come and go as far as the government is concerned. It's quite agnostic, doesn't care at all. But the network, of course, has to stay at least 49.9% owned by New Zealand. So that's as it should be, I think. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, well, how relevant, though, these days is some of the Kiwishare provisions, like free local calling?
Like free local calling.
Yeah.
I know, it's madness. So this gets everybody's back up because out there in consumer land you get this massive outcry should anybody dare to even hint that free local calling should be done away with. And I say you're actually not getting free local calling. You pay $50 a month for free local calling. And I don't know about you, but I don't remember the last time I made a local call from my home phone.
I don't want it.
I absolutely don't want to pay $50 a month, but I have to because there are still people in New Zealand who will not call a cell phone. And my wife's auntie is one of them. And if we didn't have a landline, she simply wouldn't call because she doesn't ring cell phones at all. No, not doing it. Yeah. So there are still people around with that mindset, and that is that's what's keeping this alive. Personally, I think in the next few years we'll move to a world where they just give away voice calls for free. I think it's just an add-on.
Yeah.
You buy your bundle, you get telephone, you get internet, you get television, and voice is just thrown in there as a component because why wouldn't you?
I mean, I don't know because I don't have teenage kids and I'd be far too young to have teenage kids anyway. But okay, so when I was a teenager, right? I was always on the phone to my mates. Spending probably hours on the phone to my mates,
hours
right?
And hours and hours.
But that's because I didn't grow up with texting or Skype or any of that stuff.
Yep. Or Facebook or Twitter or, you barely grew up with Google. Let's face it, you're getting old. You're getting old. But I know exactly what you mean, and apparently there are psychological reasons why teenagers talk so much. You have to, you spend all day with these people and then you go home and then you have to have a debrief to find out what you think about the day.
That's right.
So that you build, and that's, I get that, that's fine. So I will encourage that. You do not pay per email. So why would you pay per phone call?
Yeah.
And in a world where they're all just bits on the network, that's how it should be treated.
But I guess the point I'm getting at is that there's a generation growing up now who don't even make phone calls anyway in a traditional sense. So
right. So free local calling for them is neither here nor there.
Exactly.
If I took an extra $50 out of my phone bill and put it on my cell phone bill, I could, quite frankly, get. I have. I'm with 2 Degrees. I pay $150 a month, and I can call any number in New Zealand, talk as long as I like.
Yeah.
And I talk an awful lot on the phone as well, and I think it was 700 minutes last month to New Zealand mobiles and landlines.
Yeah.
And it cost me no more than I was already paying.
Yeah.
That's really the market we need to move to, not this local calling business.
Yeah.
But you can't get rid of local calling until you've got that market well established, because people just treat it as one of the few protections we've got. Let's not give it away.
Okay, all right.
Yes, and I get that. I do get that, but it does have to go, because quite frankly, it's a dinosaur.
It is. All right, watch that space. Okay, let's move on to the other, one of the big international stories, a patent fight between Apple and Nokia.
Yes. So they've been fighting for a long time, and finally it's been resolved, and I think Nokia's won this one. I mean, Nokia's dead in the water anyway. Sorry, Nokia. But you've made too many technical decisions that have gone the wrong way, I think, recently. That
might be calling it a little bit too early, because they are moving to the Windows platform, and it could be a winner.
Yeah. I looked at them. They were sitting there with Symbian. So Symbian was Nokia, as you well know, was the phone everybody had. And they have not kept up with that role as leader of the industry. Now they're just the soggy middle mass. And they made the announcement not so long ago that they were going to dump their operating system, Symbian, in favour of a new operating system. And I thought, here we go, they're going to get in behind Google, and then it's game on. Yeah. And they announced that they were getting in behind Microsoft. And everybody went, oh well. Because Microsoft is also not in a position of leading this industry anymore.
No, but it is a solid platform. Like, I've had experience on the platform, and it's a solid platform.
Yes,
and wouldn't you prefer that there are 3 or 4 platforms rather than 2?
I absolutely agree. I think one of the biggest problems with the PC market is that 90% of people are on one operating system, which means that viruses are more prevalent and nastier when they do arrive, and we all suffer as a result. And I'd love to see 3 or 4. But the state of play at the moment is that we've got one, Apple, who's leading the market. We've got another, Google, that's rapidly, in terms of innovation and public awareness.
Okay,
it's Apple first, then Google, rapidly catching up, and I'm sure they'll overtake in the not-too-distant future. And then in a distant third, you've got, probably level pegging, you've got Nokia and Microsoft and RIM, which makes BlackBerry.
Yeah.
And frankly, they are third place. If you want to make a radical change, you jump into bed with Apple, who won't let you, or Google. And unfortunately, Nokia didn't do that.
No.
They chose the safer option, and I think that will cause them trouble in the long run. But in terms of patents, they have won this round, and it's completely meaningless to normal human beings. It's kind of like the gods arguing. It's above the cloud level. You just get these occasional flashes and the rumbles of thunder, and then a body falls to the ground, and we just all carry on regardless. Because patents are a strange thing to have in this industry. The one-click patent from Amazon. These are not things that should be patentable. They're just business processes or straightforward actions. It'd be like patenting Beethoven, because it's a string of instructions on how to do something. Well, I've got the patent on that, I'm afraid. What is it? The dum-dum-dum-dum. Right, there we go. I patented that. There we are. You all owe me lots of money now. It's a nonsense, and it wouldn't be allowed, so why allow it in software?
Apparently someone is suing Apple for iCloud because they called their business iCloud, but they did not register the patent or something.
So registering and trademarking, that's another thing. At 2 ends, we have the Innovation Awards, and Vincent Heeringer, I believe you know Vincent Heeringer,
indeed,
has, of course, launched the Innovator Awards.
Okay.
Clearly stealing our trademark material, and I shall see him before the courts of law, or we might just have a beer and have a chat about it.
Well, we're talking about that. I'm about to get his wife on the line, actually. Is there anything
good. Well, get her on, because she's the power behind the throne. She can sort this problem out for us before we're forced to consume alcohol.
Yes, it's a New Zealand's mini version of Game of Thrones.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. And then we should talk copyright, because Game of Thrones is awesome. So, yes.
Isn't it just?
Well worthwhile.
It's a topic for another day.
Thanks. Yes, indeed.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks for that.
There we go. Paul Brislen, check him out on Twitter as well. Continue the conversation there, twitter.com/Paul.